In the face of the planetary crisis of climate change, the Global Warming, Yes, There Is a Solution video conference was held in the capital city of Lima, Peru on September 12th. Supreme Master Ching Hai graciously accepted the invitation to attend as guest of honor. The event was broadcast live on RBC Television's Channel 11 and on Radio Latina at 9:90 a.m., reaching more than 50,000 listeners. Guest speakers included Argentine film and television star Nicolas Pauls, Director of Disasters Prevention and Study Center Gilberto Romero Zeballos, and sociologist and author Cecilia Mendiola. Notable individuals such as the founder and president of People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, or PETA, Ingrid Newkirk, and the U.S. Director of Public Health and Animal Agriculture for the Humane Society International, Dr. Michael Greger, sent their messages of support via video.
I urge every one of you to please go home with the message that being purely vegetarian is the best thing for the animals, the best thing for you and your health, for our children, and the best thing for the earth.
To help prevent future pandemics, we need to end the industrialized production of animals for food, or even better, cease eating animals altogether.
We now invite you to join us for the rebroadcast of the live video conference with Supreme Master Ching Hai entitled Global Warming, Yes, There Is a Solution, held on September 12, 2009 in Lima, Peru.
Master, Maite Loredo, a chef and naturalist and businesswoman, would like to ask the next question.
Prego.
She couldn't come, but she left her question. 30 years ago, my husband and I decided to become vegetarian based on the principle of respect for life and nonviolence. Today, doctors recommend us not to abuse them for health reasons. Additionally, we are finding out that this excessive consumption not only negatively affects human health, but the health of the planet as well. When a hamburger arrives on my table, what does it involve in terms of climate change?
Please tell Señorita Loredo that I'm very happy that she and her husband decided to be vegetarian. And for 30 years even. That's a very long, sincere commitment. She and her husband are very smart and so loving to decide to follow their heart. I thank her for asking this beneficial question for the sake of the public. There are a lot of scientific reports made about the cost of meat eating. So I'm sure you are asking for the sake of people who may not be aware. So please allow me to state some of the costs of what we are dealing with for the next time one is about to eat a hamburger. The cost of a hamburger appears to us as cheap. But without the enormous subsidies involved in the meat industry, the real monetary cost of a hamburger would be much higher. Much higher, at least $12. There are so many costs and resources involved for that one hamburger that you are asking about. From the field to the plate, and all the processes in between. From burning the precious forest to growing the corn and soy to feed the cows, to making the fertilizer and watering these feed crops, to giving the cows huge amounts of healthy land and water. Hormones and antibiotics are also forcefully fed to the cows. And we will eat all that, huh? Then the transport over long distances here and there, and finally to the slaughterhouse, to freezing the meat so that it does not rot as it is supposed to, Then finally it has to be cooked before reaching the plate. And cooked well because, for example, the U.S. Department of Agriculture found that 89% of beef hamburger patties contain traces of the deadly E. coli bacteria. 89%, 89% of the beef hamburger contain trace of E. coli. So there is more that goes in the hamburger than what you think you see. Here are just a few examples. Destruction of land. First, land must be cleared to raise the cows. For one hamburger, there are 55 square feet of destroyed tropical rainforest, which is an equivalent of 75 kilograms of CO2, or driving your car for 5 days straight. Also, biodiversity loss. In the process, we lose up to 30 plant species, 100 insect species, I mean the beneficial one, as well, and dozens of birds, mammals, etc. Now, it contributes to hunger. Some of the deforested land is used to grow grains. Oftentimes, poor families are forced off their land in the process. One hamburger costs 4 pounds of grain that was consumed by the cow. That's about 3 loaves of bread or 8 plates of spaghetti that could have fed a number of hungry people. So, another co-cost of a hamburger is human starvation. Now, we have topsoil loss. For one hamburger, 10 pounds of topsoil for farming are eroded and lost for hundreds of years. A very serious problem. Now, greenhouse gases. Next, one hamburger alone is responsible for greenhouse gas emissions. The methane gas emitted for that piece of meat alone weighs approximately 4.7 ounces, but it has the same heat-trapping effect as 6.8 pounds of CO2. Because methane is very potent. Water waste. Not only land and food, but water is also required in huge amounts. Just one hamburger costs 625 gallons of clean water, or it would cost you about 45 showers. A month and a half or 2 months without taking a shower for one hamburger alone. Imagine that. On a side note, one cow in his lifetime before slaughter uses enough fresh water to float a large naval ship. Imagine that again. Just one cow. Now we have fossil fuel waste. One hamburger costs thousands of miles of transportation, all the way from the pasture to the feedlot, then all the way to slaughterhouse, and then to the market. So no matter if you try to buy your food locally to save emissions or not, you can't win if you eat meat. There is much more greenhouse gas that goes into this hamburger. In fact, one hamburger uses up 6.5 pounds of fossil fuels, or about a quarter gallon of gasoline. That's over 16 times the amount needed for one full, nutritious vegan meal. Now we have health hazard. There is also the cost in lives. In just one hamburger patty, there are pieces of dozens or sometimes even hundreds of individual cows, all their flesh mixed together. And you are getting more than what you think you're buying. You are buying a health hazard. There is saturated fat, which causes heart disease and stroke. There are also extra things such as growth-inducing hormones, traces of antibiotics that are fed regularly to the poor cows, the actual bacteria that are resistant to those antibiotics. These resistant bacteria are called superbugs. So the added cost here is a multifold risk to our health. There are even more costs after the hamburger is eaten. For example, a woman loses 28 milligrams of calcium after eating just one hamburger, which weakens her bones. And there is rampant risk of potentially deadly E. coli infection, as beef is a primary source of this bacteria. And again, there are risks of heart disease, cancer, mad cow disease, bird flu, pig disease, swine flu, and other meat-related diseases. We also have other human causes, like the poor families being pushed off their land for cattle production, the adults and children of the world who are perishing due to hunger, the grief and sorrow of the families who lost loved ones due to meat-related diseases, etc., etc. As for the bigger picture of how much meat eating is costing our planet, the cows in such unnaturally huge numbers, more than 1 billion on the planet, are responsible for more than 50% or even far more of total greenhouse emissions on the Earth. Nitrous oxide, which is 300 times more potent than CO2, is being emitted in vast quantities from the fertilizers required to produce the food crops for the cattle. The livestock industry produces at least 67% of all the world's nitrous oxide emissions. So, a hamburger, as you can see, is clearly unaffordable, not only in global warming, but also in deforestation, soil erosion, and desertification, water shortage, water pollution, loss of biodiversity, not to mention the negative health and bad karmic consequence prices we also have to pay, and loss of lives, precious lives. Thank you so much for asking.
Thank you, Master.
Thank her for me, Miss Loredo. And thank her for being vegetarian, and her husband.
Yes, sure, Master.
Some of the diseases related to meat consumption and/or production: swine flu, Ebola rest-on virus. Cured meats and fish increase leukemia risk in children. Antibiotic-resistant superbug infections from a strain of Staphylococcus aureus.
Blue tongue disease, E. coli, salmonella, bird flu, mad cow disease, or Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, 90% of the population at risk, pig's disease, or PMWS, listeriosis, shellfish poisoning, preeclampsia, Campylobacter, Clostridium difficile, diseases hidden in healthy-appearing livestock.
Some of the costs of meat eating. Infertility. Eating just one serving of meat per day increases the risk of women's infertility by 32%, with additional meat consumption increasing the risk.
Heart disease. Over 17 million lives lost globally each year. Cost of cardiovascular disease is at least $1 trillion a year.
Cancer. Colon rectal cancer. Over 1 million new colon cancer patients diagnosed each year, more than 600,000 colon cancer-related mortalities annually. In the United States alone, colon cancer treatment costs about $6.5 billion. Millions of people are newly diagnosed with other meat-related cancers every year. Diabetes. 246 million people are affected worldwide. An estimated $174 billion spent each year on treatment in just the United States.
Obesity. Worldwide, 1.6 billion adults are overweight, with 400 million more who are obese. Costs $93 billion each year for medical expenses in the United States alone. At least 2.6 million people die annually from problems related to being overweight or obese. Environmental. Use up to 70% of clean water, pollute most of the water bodies. deforests the lungs of the earth, uses up to 43% of the world's cereal, uses up to 85% of the world's soy, cause world hunger and wars, 80% cause of global warming, plus more.
Some of the costs of milk consumption: cowpox from milking cows, bacterial microbes, pesticides, and enzymes found in cheese derived from the inner stomach linings of other animals. Up to 80% of the calories in cheese are from pure fat. Breast, prostate, and testicular cancer from hormones present in milk. Listeria and Crohn's disease. Hormones in saturated fat leads to osteoporosis, obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. Linked to higher incidences of multiple sclerosis. Classified as a major allergen, lactose intolerance, plus more. For more urgent information, please visit www.suprememastertv.com/killers.
The next question is for Mr. Ceballos from Delfina Cabrera de García, Secretary.
Gracias. Buenas tardes. En nuestra ciudad de Lima, ¿cuál sería la mejor acción preventiva en caso que los efectos del cambio climático sigan agravándose?
Bien, en el caso de nuestra gran capital, con 8 millones de habitantes, en un proceso de crecimiento vertiginoso, con un gran consumo de los recursos naturales, principalmente el agua, tan necesaria para esta ciudad que está ubicada en el desierto, la gran contribución que podemos hacer como ciudadanos es el adecuado manejo del agua. Porque aquí tenemos una situación muy frágil, el agua cada vez es más deficitaria, cada vez llega en menor cantidad y en peor calidad a los hogares peruanos, y ya hemos tenido crisis de agua en esta ciudad. El año 90-91, recuerden ustedes, hubo una gran crisis por la cual tuvo que racionarse el agua en Lima. Es el momento en que surgieron la construcción de tanques cisternas en las ciudades o en los hogares para poder almacenar agua y tenerla durante las horas en que había el racionamiento. Estas situaciones de racionamiento en el futuro van a agravarse debido al calentamiento global y al cambio climático. Gracias.
Mr. Ceballos, thank you for your important message.
Gracias.
Master, the next question is from Gloria Narvaez, but she is not here today. So I'm going to read the question in English directly for you. How do we handle the situation in the future if the effects of global warming continue, Master?
Yeah, it's a difficult question. Not only us, but so many world leaders and scientists are also worrying about this. The truth is, we are already not able to handle such situations. In places where global warming is already reaching extreme degrees, some countries and communities have to cope with worsened drought situations. There is not enough water to raise crops or even to drink. Their rivers and lakes are drying up or completely gone. Please refer to the SupremeMasterTV.com for more information. Glaciers melt in many places so dramatically that one moment there are massive floods and soon after a drought. So how can we handle the mass migration of tens of millions of people all at once due to desertification, the rising sea levels, or the permanent loss of crop fields? It's very difficult and maybe even impossible. And it's not just numbers. Every child, family, and society will be affected. in some way by this experience of trauma and tragedy. We are not ready for the changes that are coming. We are not ready at all. We are not prepared enough. Some of the changes are even anticipated to be unexpected because there are many complicated interacting factors. The wisest action would be to fix the situation we have now and prevent further damage. Then we won't even have to worry about the future. All the leading scientists we have spoken to tell us one and the same, that we must handle it now, not tomorrow. The smartest way would be to stop the worsening of global warming by being vegan. It sounds very simple, but it is the best solution, the most effective, and the effect of it will be felt almost immediately. Without this main, most time-effective change, no matter what we try to do, it won't be enough to repel the worst consequences that we have accumulated. Moreover, the problems we already face now, such as the warming atmosphere, water shortage, food scarcity, desertification, we can quickly eliminate by stopping meat production. Stop it now, no further. So please, tell Señorita Naves and everyone else, before the situation gets any more out of hand, let's choose the vegan diet. The future effects will be greatly eased. Only then we will have a manageable situation. Please thank Señorita Naves for her concern, and please tell her to do her part. Mean, be veg, go green, so we can all save the planet. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Master.
Some of the benefits of a vegetarian diet: lowers blood pressure, lowers cholesterol levels, reduces type 2 diabetes, prevents stroke conditions, reverses atherosclerosis, reduces heart disease risk 50%, reduces heart surgery risk 80%, prevents many forms of cancer. Stronger immune system, increases life expectancy up to 15 years. Higher IQ, saves 70% of a total cost of $40 trillion for reducing global warming. Uses 4.5 times less land to grow food. Conserves up to 70% clean water. Saves 80% of the cleared Amazonian rainforest from animal grazing. A solution for world hunger. Free up 3.4 billion hectares of land. Free up 760 million tons of grain every year, or half the world's grain supply. Consumes 1/3 fossil fuels of those used for meat production. Reduces pollution from untreated animal waste. Maintains cleaner air. Saves 4.5 tons of emissions per U.S. household per year. Stop 80% of global warming. Plus more. Save your life. Be veg. Go green.
The next question is for Mr. Pauls from Ninfa del Pozo. Mrs. Ninfa del Pozo is not here, so we are going to read the question directly. How much does the vegetarian diet help in stopping global warming?
La maestra lo acaba de responder, creo. No soy un científico, solo me baso en mis impresiones y mis sensaciones y en mi conciencia y en mi experiencia. Yo simplemente creo que es aparentemente la única solución más directa y más veloz, porque queda aparentemente muy poco tiempo. Creo que es la solución inmediata Por supuesto que hay que cambiar un montón de otras actitudes que tiene el ser humano para con los recursos naturales y con la devastación del planeta. Eso no hay que olvidarse, ¿no? El cuidar el agua, el no tirar residuos. Empecemos también a hablar de un montón de otras cosas que también a la larga terminan afectando y muchísimo. Pero como vegetariano desde hace tanto tiempo digo que por supuesto que esto ayudaría y mucho en lo inmediato.
Thank you for that important message, Mr. Pauls.
Gracias.
Master, next question is from José Luis Pérez Alvela Beraum, and he's not here today. He is a vegan doctor and nutritionist. Would like to ask you the next question.
Please, go ahead.
How can we make our life much simpler and harmonious despite all the material things around us?
How? Yes, it's a very noble-minded question. I agree with him. Simple living and high thinking are the secrets to a long and happy life. One of the best ways to bring simplicity into our lives, he's already doing in choosing the vegan diet. I'm very happy to see that. Living without killing or bringing harm to other beings can restore harmony and health to yourself and the world around us faster than most anything else, especially for such a busy life as his, Dr. Berum, where caring for others is a part of his profession. The love and compassion of the animal-free or vegan diet gives you more strength, patience, and understanding. Another way to cultivate simplicity is to spend time also in the tranquility of nature or create a natural environment at home where we can go for peace and quiet. Reading mind-uplifting books such as spiritual scriptures as well as practicing meditation are also good ways to remind ourselves that we truly don't need much to be happy and live a contented, peaceful life. People who meditate, according to scientific research conducted in the US on meditation, no matter what religion they came from, or even if they don't think they believe in God, meditation is still beneficial and in fact has been found to help in remaining calm and serene, as well as giving an optimistic outlook on life. Being vegan, as Dr. Berum is, also helps considerably in benefiting from meditation, because he already purified his system by removing toxic meat and animal products from his diet. So the combination of practices like meditation along with daily harmonious living through the vegan diet will lead to a simpler life with fewer material desires, but still full of happiness and contentment. I hope this answers the question for Dr. Berum. I wish him the best, and I thank him for doing his part for the world, to save the world as a vegan, and a vegan doctor even. Please send him my love and my friendship. Muchas gracias, amigo.
Thank you, Master.
European Parliament supports reducing meat to lower greenhouse gases.
Roll call vote. Vote is now open.
Reduce your meat consumption or stop eating meat totally.
During discussions on greenhouse gas reduction goals, the Climate Committee of the European Parliament officially recognized livestock's contribution to global warming and recommended a reduction of subsidies to the livestock industry to curb methane.
The European Parliament has adopted its own position on climate change as an institution. And as a Vice President, one of the proposals I have made is in line with your own, which is that we should eat far less meat, because that's one of the major sources of greenhouse gases.
Tout le monde sait bien, si on veut rendre notre planète soutenable, il va falloir réduire notre consommation de viande, ça on le sait bien.
My name is Jens Holm, I'm a member of the European Parliament. Please, be veg, go green, save the planet.
The next question is for our panelist, Mr. Ceballos, from Maria Elena Cortés, who has left this question for him. Maria Elena Cortés Guardamio is a representative from the association Niños Índigo. How can we eliminate the toxins in the atmosphere?
Bien, creo que estamos en un mundo del consumismo, es decir, en un mundo del derroche. Pensamos y actuamos como los recursos del planeta nunca se van a agotar, y eso no es cierto. Hay muchos recursos que son agotables. Tendríamos que tener mayor responsabilidad, tanto quienes incentivan el consumismo, pero también quienes somos víctimas de esto y actuamos con irresponsabilidad, derrochando los bienes y los productos. En efecto, lo que se ve es la necesidad de cambios fundamentales en nuestra forma de vivir. Es necesario impulsar una cultura de prevención que se anticipe a los problemas que se vienen en el futuro y que hagamos cambios fundamentales en la economía, en la forma de producir, pero también en la forma de consumir los bienes que tenemos al alcance. Este sería el mensaje fundamental en relación a la excesiva producción industrial, muchas veces innecesaria, generando necesidades diversas para un mundo pudiendo morigerar y pudiendo dar un racionamiento en lo que es el brindar los bienes que la sociedad necesita. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Mr. Ceballos. Master, Pilar Zanelli Brasesco would like to ask you the next question. She is a biologist and also the director of the Amazon shelter.
Thank you for answering all the questions. In which way a vegetarian diet has an influence in the spiritual life of people?
Hola, señorita Brasesco. Yes. Being veg is beneficial for any kind of spiritual advancement. In fact, all the wise ancient teachings of sages since time immemorial have highlighted the importance of a benevolent plant-based diet. It is a fundamental requirement of a spiritual practitioner.
Vegetarianism in religion.
The Baha'i Faith. Regarding the eating of animal flesh and abstinence therefrom, know thou of a certainty that, in the beginning of creation, God determined the food of every living being, and to eat contrary to that determination is not approved. Selections from the Baha'i writings of some aspects of health and healing.
Buddhism. All meats eaten by living beings are of their own relatives. Lankavatara Sutra. Also, after the birth of the baby, care must be exercised not to kill any animal in order to feed the mother with meaty delicacies, and not to assemble many relatives to drink liquor or to eat meat, because at the difficult time of birth, there are innumerable evil demons, monsters, and goblins who want to consume the smelly blood. By ignorantly and adversely resorting to the killing of animals for consumption, they bring down curses upon themselves, which are detrimental to both the mother and the baby. Ksitigarbha Sutra. Be careful during the days immediately after someone's death, not killing or destroying, or creating evil karma by worshipping or offering sacrifice to demons and deities, because such killing and slaughtering committed, or such worship performed, or such sacrifice offered, would not have even an iota of force to benefit the dead, but would entwine even more sinful karma into previous karma, making it even deeper and more serious. Thus, delay his rebirth to a good state. Karma means retribution. Ksitigarbha Sutra.
Gaudai. The most important thing is to stop killing, because animals also have souls and understand like humans. If we kill and eat them, then we owe them a blood debt. Teachings of the Saints.
Christianity. Meats for the belly, and the belly for meats, but God shall destroy both it and them. Holy Bible.
And while the flesh was yet between their teeth, ere it was chewed, the wrath of the Lord was kindled against the people, and the Lord smote the people with a very great plague. Holy Bible.
Confucianism. All men have a mind which cannot bear to see the sufferings of others. The superior man, having seen the animals alive, cannot bear to see them die. Having heard their dying cries, he cannot bear to eat their flesh. Mencius. Essenes.
I am come to end the sacrifices and feasts of blood, and if ye cease not offering and eating of flesh and blood, the wrath of God shall not cease from you. Gospel of the Holy 12.
Hinduism. Since you cannot bring killed animals back to life, you are responsible for killing them. Therefore, you are going to hell. There is no way for your deliverance. Adalila.
He who desires to augment his own flesh by eating the flesh of other creatures lives in misery in whatever species he may take his birth. Mahabharata anew.
Islam. Allah will not give mercy to anyone except those who give mercy to other creatures. Hadith.
Do not allow your stomachs to become graveyards of animals. Hadith.
Jainism. A true monk should not accept such food and drink as has been specially prepared for him involving the slaughter of living beings. Sutrakatanga.
Judaism. And whatsoever man there be of the house of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, that eateth any manner of blood, I will even set my face against that soul that eateth blood, and will cut him off from among his people. Holy Bible. Blood meaning flesh.
Sikhism. Those mortals who consume marijuana, flesh, and wine, no matter what pilgrimages, fasts, and rituals they follow, they will all go to hell. Guru Granth Sahib.
Taoism. Do not go into the mountain to catch birds and nets, nor to the water to poison fishes and minnows. Do not butcher the ox that plows your field. Tract of the Quiet Way.
Tibetan Buddhism. The offering to the deities of meat obtained by killing animate beings is like offering a mother the flesh of her own child, and this is a grievous failure, the supreme path of discipleship.
Zoroastrianism. Those plants I, Ahura Mazda, or God, rain down upon the earth to bring food to the faithful and fodder to the beneficent cow. Avesta.
Everybody knows that vegetarian diet is good for health and to save the planet. They will be awakening their own great, compassionate, loving self-nature, and then their level of consciousness will rise up automatically, and they will understand more than they ever did, and they'll be closer to heaven than what they are right now. The concept behind foregoing animal products is ahimsa, meaning nonviolence. By partaking of a vegan diet, We also avoid the bad retribution of killing, and thus it will not burden and obstruct our spiritual journey. I'm sure you are familiar with this principle, Señorita Brasesco. In your work to save and protect the animals, being vegan simply means that we protect all the animals. This killing of other beings must be stopped for humanity to evolve as a civilization. The benefits of doing so are manifold. Besides restoration of health, biodiversity will be allowed to thrive, planet equilibrium restored, along with the easing of our own conscience and our capacity for elevated consciousness. All these are the fruits of a more compassionate diet. This loving attitude also creates a more peaceful atmosphere that brings greater comfort to all beings. At peace with ourselves in the knowledge that we did not cause anguish or pain to our fellow animals, our brethren, we will have the inner tranquility to pursue our spiritual endeavors wholeheartedly. Before we expect the lion to lay down peacefully with the lamb, we humans must do it first. As long as the humans cannot even lay down peacefully with the lamb, causing all the anguish, fear, sorrow, oppression to weaker beings and defenseless animals, we cannot realize this heavenly dream, as the lion will lie beside the lamb. So, we must return to our compassionate self. We must return to our glorious status as the children of God. We have to bring heaven to earth. Thank you, Señorita Brasesco. God bless your noble work in preserving the precious lives of the animals. God bless you.
Thank you, Pastor, for your wisdom.
Yo estoy en un proceso de transformación. El vegetarianismo es una de las consecuencias de adquirir perfección en el ser humano, que es tener amor, sabiduría y voluntad. Eso te lleva como consecuencia a ser vegetariano, a tener amor incondicional, y el vegetarianismo es una consecuencia favorable, positiva en el ser humano.
Estamos siempre apoyando a toda esta labor que está haciendo la maestra Chinghai, con bastante gusto y voluntad. Más que todo lo que es el cambio climático, y precisamente estamos fomentando prácticamente drásticamente dejar de comer carne. Sé vegetariano, sé ecológico y salvemos al planeta.
¿Recomendarías a los jóvenes y a los niños ser vegetarianos?
Por supuesto que sí, es lo mejor para la preservación de la salud, evitar las enfermedades y salvar el planeta. Sé vegetariano, sé ecológico, salva el planeta.
Quería decir a todos los jóvenes y niños y adultos de que por favor cuiden el agua y de que sean vegetarianos para que puedan salvar el medio ambiente y el planeta. Sé vegetariano, sé ecológico, salva el planeta.
¿Qué has escuchado esta noche que te interesa?
La labor que desempeña la maestra Chinghai sobre la labor de cuidar del medio ambiente, todo lo que está haciendo por cuidarlo y lo que promueve, lo que hace para la labor de obras benéficas a favor de otros.
¿Y está pensando usted en adoptar una dieta vegana?
Sí, me gustaría mucho seguirla. Parece algo muy interesante, además que más saludable y algo mucho mejor para el medio ambiente.
Y Alberto, ¿qué ha aprendido esta noche de que te puede usar para su vida?
Que ser vegetariano es bueno para salvar el mundo en este problema que tenemos del calentamiento global. Por eso es que hay que ser vegetarianos para salvar el planeta.
We appreciate your kind company for today's episode of Words of Wisdom for the rebroadcast of Global Warming, Yes, There Is a Solution. Join us again tomorrow for Part 4. A journey through aesthetic realms is coming up next, right after noteworthy news. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Wishing you ever more happiness and peace in heaven's light and love.
For more details, please visit www.suprememastertv.com/WOW.